Maternal Instinct, Chapter 5. Desperately Seeking Shigo. Kim struggled to keep her focus on the road as she laughed loudly. What had started as a simple request for more information about Pazuzu ended up as an exchange of stories between the two teen heroines, most notably about the odd things they had seen in their careers, and some of the comical moments of their prospective sidekicks have provided.
And I swear, he just took a big huge swig of milk even as he'd taken the expiration date. It took him about 10 seconds to realize what he'd done, before he blew chunks all over my Aunt Hema.
Jen recounted as he wiped a tear out of her eye.
Big ol' that Emma.
Kim shook her head as her own laughter slowly died down.
It sounds like David's about as accident-prone as Ron, she commented. Well, I've only heard rumors, so I really can't comment. And Dave does help out a lot. It's just that sometimes he doesn't think things through. Yeah.
Redhead only nodded in understanding as she watched the road ahead of her. When she thought back on the last story, it did spark a question she wanted to ask, but wasn't so sure of how to tactfully put it.
So, she started slowly, speaking of your family, how do they handle, your job? Well, my dad's uneasy about it, but I think he's accepted it at this point,
Jen replied thoughtfully.
And your mom? She's not around anymore.
Oh, Kim gasped, and she could kick herself for being such a painful subject.
I'm sorry, I didn't.
Jen held up her hand to stop her, even though she still hung her head.
It's not your fault you didn't know. Still, let's just move on, alright?
Right. Despite the promise to move on, the conversation was halted by an uneasy silence.
So, what does your dad do?
Kim asked, hoping to steer the talks back to a happier subject.
He's a technical engineer, likes to tinker with all sorts of stuff, Jen explained. Ah, sounds like fun. It is. Especially since he's let me help him since I was little. Good thing he do, 'cause that's what helped me get to know how to build my gadgets. You build your own gadgets?
Kim asked as she tossed the girl a depressed look.
Have to. Don't have a 10-year-old super genius working for me. Well, she started, feeling slightly embarrassed. I'm just messing with you, Jen replied with a dismissive stare. Not everyone has a knack for it, and like I said, I was lucky my dad showed me all his tricks. Plus, I just think it's fun building my own stuff. Guess you could say I'm a bit of a shop girl. By that I mean shop class, not shop mall. Figured as much. Do you have any other hobbies or extracurriculars? Is this the part where you ask if I'm a cheerleader too?
Well, Kim paused, not sure whether to feel guilty or embarrassed by the question.
The answer is no, I'm not. No offense, but I've had some pretty bad experiences with cheerleaders. Well, we're not all that bad, though there are some.
Jen looked up at Kim and was amazed to find a grim expression on the girl's face and see her gripping the steering wheel tire. She wasn't sure what brought on the sudden outburst of anger. She wasn't sure she wanted to know. What she wanted to know now was to steer the conversation back to something more productive and less life-endangering.
I do martial arts, she spoke up. Huh? I said I do martial arts. It's one of my other hobbies. My dad enrolled me into class after he realized I was starting to follow in his footsteps. He told me that some of the other kids would be really crude about it, and wanted to make sure I could defend myself if they started to pick on me, she explained. Personally, I think he still has a lot of nerd rage pent up, wants to see me kick some bully's butt.
Ah, the redhead muttered, not sure how to respond to that fact. So, any other creeps out there you tingle with? I'm sure this Pazuzu guy isn't the only one.
Oh, how I wish he was, Jen sighed. There are too many out there.
Yeah, there always are. You mentioned something about the prankster?
Yeah, him. Well,
he's psychotic.
Pray you never had to run into him.
That bad, huh?
Remember the story about the battery acid? That's one of the more tame pranks he pulled.
Ouch!
Yeah, the worst part is he had some sick infatuation with me. It's really unsettling. Sadly, he's the only one that really takes me seriously on my own merits, so comparing me to you.
Again, Kim didn't know how to react to that statement. Part of her felt guilty, like she had apologized for something, but she knew that was ridiculous. It wasn't her fault that people couldn't see the differences between them. It's just the way public viewed things. How was she responsible for that? Jen seemed to sense her confusion because he placed a hand on Kim's shoulder and shook her head gently. Don't worry about it, she replied, lowering her hand. It's not your fault most people are idiots. She chuckled at that. Yeah, but still, let's just drop it. After Kim nodded in agreement, Jen continued on. Let's see. I think the next weirdest feeling I faced after those two would be the seductress. The seductress? Kim looked skeptical. Someone seriously calls himself that? Yep. Let me guess. Uses some kind of gas or powder to make men do their bidding. Close. As far as I can tell, she uses some kind of pheromone that draws people in. It fizzes them off with a kiss. Then, bam! They are completely under her control. And it's not just men that she goes after. At that, Kim quirked an eyebrow. It took only a second glance over at the other girl. Her head was bowed down, and her cheeks were flushed red. Kim opened her mouth to say something, but Jen cut her off. I don't like to talk about it, she said softly. Fair enough, the redhead agreed. Anyone else that doesn't have an embarrassing story attached to them? Well, not for me, but there's one for Dave, kinda. Oddly, we're the only other female villain I've ever encountered that repeatedly. Calls herself Cobalt. Kim went on exasperated side to name. I'm guessing that her outfit is just that color, isn't it? Oh yeah, hair too. I swear villains can take things way too seriously. Tell me about it. Jen shook her head. The first time we encountered Dave, he couldn't help but stare at her. Assets. Didn't help that she wore her suit unzipped all the way to here. She pointed to just below her breasts. Typical villainess. What is it that makes them wear skin-tight, revealing clothes? The brunette shrugged. Maybe they feel the need to stand out. It's mostly a male-dominated field. I suppose so. Still, yeah. They slid to the silence again, but it was a bit more comfortable. A reflective silence. It was an opportunity for them to settle into their respective mission modes. They were nearing the hospital, and Kim wanted to be ready for anything. She sincerely hoped Jen had been wrong about Shigo being in trouble. But from everything she had just learned, this girl knew what she was talking about. It was a little odd to have someone else who could understand the pressures of being a teen hero. But in another way it was quite refreshing. Though she wasn't sure how to be able to handle having someone else besides Ron on a mission, let alone someone who might be able to keep up with her. Jen had a similar thought running through her head. In her case, though, it was more about wondering how far she could assert herself. After all, this was Kim's town and her friend, so just barging in and taking over wouldn't feel right. Not to mention, it would put it at the same team level as Team Impossible. She definitely didn't want that. On the other hand, Pazuzu was her villain, and she knew how to handle them. So she made her feel like she had to come along. She just wasn't sure about playing second fiddle to someone, especially when that someone was the person she was always being compared to. They were brought out of their respective reposes by a light beeping sound that Kim instantly recognized as the tone of the communicator. Dee dee dee! She visited a bit in her seat, desperately wanting to answer it, also remembering her parents told her about talking on it and driving. May I? Jen asked politely. Sure. With that, she reached into Kim's pocket and quickly fisted out the device. She studied it for a second to find the on switch and was rewarded by the screen flickering to life, the image of that of a young, African-American boy in a room full of killer appearance filling the screen. Kim, Wade started until he looked at the unfamiliar face staring back at him. You're not Kim! For the 100th millionth time, no, I'm not. I'm Jen, she replied, trying to sound a little more playful than bare. Then where's Kim? He asked. Right here, Wade, Kim replied as Jen held the screen towards her. Are you driving? The boy asked, after taking this scene. Yeah, so sits me. Maybe I shouldn't right now. Wade! Kim stressed his name in a tone that told him not to argue. He sighed before he spoke. I just got a call from the hospital. Apparently there was some kind of attack and, well, Shigo's been kidnapped. Kim's heart froze for an entire moment. The world seemed to disappear. Shigo had been kidnapped? How could that happen? How would she allow herself to be kidnapped? Unless they threatened a baby. And the attacker would still be threatening her now. What if... No! She would not allow her to think things like that. Shigo and Shin had to be fine. They just had to. But she tracked them down sooner or later. Each second she waited was another second that something horrible could be happening to them. First, she had to go to the hospital and check on her mom. She'd been working there today as well, so the attacker got Shigo. It was plausible that he got to her mom as well. Again, she imagined that she would rather not have flooded her mind with that motivation. Firmly in place, she slammed on the gas, not caring if she lost Dave and Ron, not caring if she cut someone off, and not even caring about getting pulled over. The only thing she cared about now was getting to her loved ones and keeping them safe. Dave kept his eyes on the red car in front of him. Even if he did have someone with him who knew the streets of the town, he still didn't want to take the chance of getting lost. Mostly because he knew Jen would tear him a new one if she did, and he didn't even want to think about what Kim would do to him. He heard stories that she could quite be unladylike when she got really mad, so he watched the car closely and kept the distracting talking down to a minimum. Plus, he couldn't really think about too much to talk about. It wasn't that Ron didn't seem to be an interesting guy. Dave just couldn't think about anything to talk about. Actually, there was one thing. He wasn't how comfortable the other blonde would be talking about it. Deciding it was better than the overbearing signs, he took a shot. So, he spoke up, that Monique girl, what's her story? What do you mean? Ron asked, a bit surprised by his sudden topic. I mean, like, is she single? I think so. Why? The other boy eyed him suspiciously. She is attractive, and, well, I do like the chocolate, if you catch my meaning. I think I do, and I appreciate you not talking about one of my friends that way. Fair enough, Dave said, breaking his fingers from the steering wheel to a modified surrender gesture. But if I did, start pursuing her, would that be much of a problem? That depends. Would this be like an actual relationship, or just a sexual conquest type of thing? Oh, come on! Do I look like the type of guy who would just sleep with a girl and then run? Ron stared at the boy with a look that seemed to pierce into his soul. To say Dave was surprised by this action would have been an understatement. But when he had started the scene, he never imagined Ron would be capable of such an intense glare. It didn't help that Rufus poked his head out of the boy's perfectly imitated the look. Dave glanced between the two in the road for several seconds before he finally broke. I'm not that bad, he shouted. I would take her on some dates first and see what happened. Both Ron and Rufus relaxed at the statement. Then I wouldn't have a problem with it, Ron said casually. Nope, no problem, Rufus chimed. Sheesh, you always like this? Just when people talk bad about my friends. Well, that's a good trait to have. Still, that's a pretty scary look. Thanks, I spent a lot of time in the mirror perfecting it. Mission accomplished. Ron chuckled at that. Then the two fell into silence once more. Again, Dave felt a bit uncomfortable and brought up another sensitive topic. So, what about you and Kim? He asked. Ron stiffened at the question and turned to look at him suspiciously. What about me and Kim? Well, I just heard some rumors that you two were going out. That's true or what? Ron sighed and stared up at the passing sky from the open roof of the convertible. Wasn't sure if he wanted to answer that question or not. He was tired of having explained how his relationship with Kim fell through. At the same time, this would give him an opportunity to say something that had been keeping inside for a while without her overhearing it. Deciding to get it over with, he lowered his hand and looked at Dave. It's true. We were going out, he said in a melancholy tone. Oh, Dave responded, feeling a bit stupid for asking. So, what happened? That's what I've been asking myself. It just couldn't work, physically. Dave crooked an eyebrow and glanced over to him. Something you wanted to tell me? Ron stared at him blankly for a moment before the true meaning of the statement sank in. His eyes grew wide. He just wanted to shake his hands furiously. No! No! Everything works! Down there. Works just fine! He explained emphatically. He looked up at just not with KP. I mean, it started out well enough with the kissing, the petting, and cuddling sort of thing. Then, when we got more, he stammered, not really wanting to go into details for him and Kid's sake. R-rated. Sure, we'll go with that. Anyway, when that happened, something just clicked in our brains, and we realized we were doing things to each other when we've been best friends since pre-K. The everybody nodded as he took that in. Yeah, I could see how that might cause a problem in the bedroom, he said. Yeah. Ron agreed and lowered his head. We tried a couple of times, but it never just felt right. so we just decided to call it off. It was very awkward for a while, but eventually we got over it, and now we're friends again. It's just not like we were before. That's a risk you take. That's why Jen and I decided not to mix business with pleasure. We didn't want to screw things up with our friendship or with the hero business. Plus, I'm not really her type anyway, so it wasn't too much of an issue. So then, she's single? Dave gave him a sideways glance. You're a glutton for punishment, aren't you? Hey, you asked me about Monique! Ron cowered. Oh, I wasn't just talking about me. Jen's the one you have to worry about. Besides, I figured you want to change the pace since last time you went one of the hero's girls, it didn't work out. That's because I know KP all my life. I just met Jen, so there's a chance it could work out better. So you don't want to date Kim, but you want to date a girl like her. Well, that's interesting. Can we not turn this into a psych class or thing? Hey, I'm not the one that wants to be dominated by a strong woman. Ron crossed his arms over his shoulder and looked away from the driver in a huff. Not as much as KP does, apparently, he stated. Dave paused for a moment as he made sure he heard that right. What? He asked, looking over his passenger. Ron sighed and relaxed his posture and looked forward again. It's this whole thing with KP and Shigo, he admitted. I know Shigo is having her baby and all, and I'm happy for it. Definitely think Kim should keep it and raise it. Shigo, I'm not sure about. Don't think she can handle it? A little, yeah. It's also that Kim's been spending a lot of time with her. And yes, I know she has to because of the baby, so don't start with that. It's just that I'm starting to get this vibe from them. It's hard to explain, but if I'm right, then it's completely sick and wrong. Well, I told everyone I thought about it, but that somehow made me a creep. That's because that's not helping the vibe. I can see. Ask yourself though, even if this vibe turns out to be true, would that change how you feel about Kim? Ron opened his mouth to start to say something, but then closed it after he faltered. Also, he never really thought about it. He knew he still liked Kim as a friend, and even had some lingering feelings toward her from their short-lived relationship. This was another thing he was conflicted on. Especially if he thought about what was happening was right. But even if it would still be the same Kim, right? She wouldn't change that much, but how? His eternal thought train was derailed when loudly screeching tires and the slight smell of burning rubber caught his attention. He refocused attention ahead of him in time to see Kim's car speeding away from them. Well, that's a burst of speed. Dave mused as he pressed the gas pedal hard to keep up. Kim must have gotten some bad news from the hospital, Ron guessed. Quick, follow that car! I always wanted to see that. David Rufus, who had been chilling out in the CD holder between seats, both exchanged questioning looks about the boy before Dave ignored him, putting even more weight on the gas pedal in an effort to keep up with the possible car. Whenever they were going to find at the hospital, he knew things were about to get a lot more interesting. Once he arrived at the hospital, Kim found the closest spot to the entrance she could, or practically got out of the car and ran towards the building. She barged past the police barricade and stepped into what used to be the main lobby. Now it was a little more than a smoldering mess. Twisted chunks of metal and hundreds of shards of glass lay strewn about, intermingled with burnt-up magazines and pieces of plastic benches. She stood there for a moment to try and take it all in. She was used to seeing destruction like this when she blew up some mad scientist's lab, or even an army base, but never in a hospital like this. As despicable as foes were, at least he had followed unwritten rule about hitting areas and people unnecessarily. But an act like this, what kind of monster was she dealing with here? Well, then she remembered the reason why she came here. All this happened in the lobby, and Chico was kidnapped from here. Then what happened to her mother? She couldn't see any bodies lying around, but figured that anyone who had been injured had already been attended to. So if her mother wasn't there, then... No! Please! No! She thought, practically on the verge of tears. Kimmy! A very familiar voice, called out to her. Almost numbly, Kim turned her head to find her mother and Dr. Anderson walking into the lobby from one of the hallways. To her great relief, her mother looked fine, except for a small bandage on her neck. A broad smile spread across the girl's face as she ran forward and tackled her mother in a fierce hug. Oh, thank God! Kim mumbled into her mom's shoulder. It's okay, Kimmy. I really am. Aunt consoled her daughter. Are you sure? The younger Possible asked, pulling away and checking for more injuries. Nothing's broken or anything. I'm fine. It's just a little cut that Rich picked up right away, Aunt told her. It's perfectly fine, Dr. Anderson agreed. Except that whole being taken hostage thing. Kim looked at her mother in shock.
It was nothing,
Anne asserted.
it wasn't any worse than dragging captured us and tied us up.
A look of confusion and mild interest crossed Anderson's face at that statement. But before he could inquire further, a new voice caught the girl's attention. I'm sorry, miss, but you can't come through here, one of the officers said, as he tried to push someone back behind the yellow tape.
Look, I need to get in there. I'm part of this whole thing,
Jen protested.
She's right, officer. She's with me,
Kim spoke up. Are you sure, Miss Possible? The officer asked.
Positive. And so are the other two coming up.
The officer turned his head back around and made sure the two blond boys walking up to the entrance as well. He looked over at one of them. It seemed to strike something familiar in them. Yes, I know you. You're Kim's sidekick, he said, snapping his fingers as he tried to remember his name.
Ron Stoppable?
It's the boy in question corrected.
Is it too much to ask that someone remember my name?
It's a losing battle, Dave replied, placing a hand on Ron's shoulder. Ron just shook his head sadly as he and Dave followed Jen to where Kim, her mother, and Anderson stood.
So, what happened?
Jen asked to no one in particular. Well, we were all standing around when the doors exploded, and these big, ugly creatures came in, followed by another big, ugly creature flying on something that looked like a big, ugly creature. After Anderson informed,
I can tell you right now, the one flying on the thing wasn't a creature at all. Just a man dressed up on one.
What's confusing me?
That's what he wants you to think. So what about these other creatures? What did they look like?
Oh, Dr. Anderson mused as he thought back on the incident. About my height, gray skin, long arms, big nasty-looking teeth.
Good Lord, Creeks, Jen muttered. Bless you! No, it's the name of a demon. A Grudgelik. Is that good or bad?
Kim asked. Demons? And Dr. Anderson asked.
I'll explain later. At least I hope so.
Kim told him and turned back to Sen.
So? The good news is they're not very bright.
Jen started.
And the bad? They're hard to kill. The bodies can withstand a lot of punishment. Unfortunately, they have a pretty vulnerable and represented weak spot. So we can take them down. Yep. And that's all I need to know.
Kim said with a nod and turned towards her mother again.
Mom, I'm sorry I can't stay, but
Her mother cut off with a raised hand.
I understand. Don't worry, your father's coming to pick me up any time now. You just go and save Chico and your baby.
Kim smiled and gave her mother another hug, or thanking her and heading for the door. The others followed suit, but Jen was stopped by a gentle hand on her shoulder. She turned her head to see Ann Possible looking at her in concern.
I take it that since you know what these things are, you do the same thing my Kimmy does? Well, it's not exactly the same, but you help people, yes. Your parents must be proud of you.
Yeah, Jen said, not sure where this is going.
I know Kim would never admit it, but sometimes she needs help. And that's why I feel better when Ron is with her, but for this...
Ann pondered, her expression fell a bit.
Well, I'm just glad she had someone else who dealt with these things before her. Let's just try to watch out for her, all right? Not that I think she'll need it, but yeah, I'll do everything I can.
Jen promised.
Thank you. Jen, come on! We need to go now!
The brunette gave Kim Mrs. Possible one last look before she turned to join the others. When she stepped out from under the yellow police tape, she found Kim giving her a cross look.
And what was that about?
Nothing, Jen said. All right, come on, we gotta go. Right, any ideas where we're going? Kim thought about a moment and looked over at Dave.
All right, Fizzin' Boy. You said you knew where this guy was operating out of?
She asked sternly. I caught a glimpse of it, yeah. It's a warehouse, Dave replied.
A warehouse. Yep, that's it. You couldn't get anything better than that!
Kim growled, almost grinding her teeth together.
Well, I'm sorry if I can't focus on the details through the blinding pain!
Kim let out another growl from deep within her throat before she pulled out the communicators listed on.
Wade!
She barked at the screen.
Whoa, Kim, what's got you tweaked?
The boy asked.
What hasn't got me tweaked right now?
She retorted. Look, I need to know if you heard anything about the strange creatures either walking or flying out of the building in the warehouse system.
I find it hard to believe that no one would notice something flying around dressed like some goblin demon. What?
Kim asked, looking at her.
He's dressed as a demon. A serpentine one at that. Goblins are a completely different thing.
Whatever! Wade looked back and forth between the two teen heroines with a confused and somewhat frightened look. Nevertheless, he began to run the search Kim had asked for. and within seconds stumbled upon something that might be interesting.
This might be it. A couple of reports seeing strange figures coming out of an old shipping warehouse for the past few weeks.
He reported, "Got a picture?"
Yeah, right here.
After a few keystrokes, the screen changed from the view of Wade in his room to that of an old three-story building that had seen better days. Kim turned to the communicator to Dave so he could see the picture.
Is this the place that you saw?
She asked. He took a quick look at it and instantly recognized the building he had seen in his vision.
Yep, that's it.
Good. Thanks, Wade. Kim stepped forward, deciding to device down. Alright then, here's what we're going to do. We're going to take the cars back to my house so we can all change into our respective mission gear. Then we'll leave your car at my house and take mine to the warehouse.
Whoa! Why we do have to leave my car there?
Because this guy's probably seen it before and knows what to look out for. He doesn't know about mine, so we have a better chance of taking him by surprise. Kim explained in a slightly condescending tone. She has a point. She added.
Fine!
Dave relented. Kim nodded. Good, let's go. A decision made, the group piloted their separate cars again, left the hospital for the possible home. As they were driving, Kim thought back to what she had seen and what her mother had told her. She tried to keep her usual upbeat attitude about admission, but found it hard to when there was such a personal stake to it. She just hoped Shigo and Shin were all ready by the time they had found them, or they would never be able to forgive herself. They have to be all right. I won't be late to save for them again.
I won't,
she promised herself. Shigo groaned as she slowly began to regain consciousness. The very first thing she became aware of was the dull pain in the back of her head. Next was that her hands and feet were tied down. While it felt like her ankles were being held down by chains and magnals, her hands were being completely covered by some kind of device. She tried to move them, but they wouldn't budge, and neither would her feet.
Figure as much. She thought, yet another thing I don't miss about being a hero. Having to worry about everyone around you. So wonder where this creep took me.
To find the answer, she slowly cracked open her eyes, expecting a blinding light to force them to close them again. Surprisingly, she only found a slightly lighter darkness around her. A quick look around told her she was in some old building that had long outlived its usefulness. She didn't quite see the ceiling from her vantage point, but that rusty catwalk above made her assume that she was probably on the ground level. She tilted her head to find stacks of leftover crates and broken pieces of equipment. When she turned her head to the right, she saw a yellow, demonic face staring right at her.
Ah!
She screamed in surprise, but quickly calmed down after she remembered who it was.
Don't do that!
Oh, I'm sorry. Did I scare you?
The man replied in mock concern.
Well, good. You should be scared.
Some jackass in a Halloween costume? Please.
How do you know this is a costume?
Doy, I can smell the latex from here,
Shigo remarked.
Well then, you found me out,
he said as he took a step to his right.
I should introduce myself. I am Pazuzu.
Shigo snorted.
Pazuzu? Seriously?
You don't know who he is, do you?
Nope, I don't care either.
The real Pazuzu is a demon of destruction, droughts and famines and subcultures.
He explained in a malicious tone.
I tend to follow in that example, raining destruction down on all mankind until I'm the only one left standing.
Yeah, that's fascinating and all.
Shigo said sarcastically.
But what's that got to do with me?
With you? Very little. But
this, he said as he ran a clawed hand over the bump in Shigo's stomach,
has a lot to do with it.
Take your scaly hands off me, you damn dirty creep!
Shigo growled as he struggled to restraints and tried to ignite her plasmic powers.
Don't bother,
Pazuzu suggested as he stood upright.
Those are specially designed to negate your powers.
Hell!
That's not the point. What is that child you're carrying?
Don't you dare think of hurting my baby.
Shigo threatened again, even if it was empty at the moment. Pazuzu marked shocked and hurt.
No, why would I want to do something like that? What was the reason I kidnapped you in the first place?
He asked honestly before another sinister smile spread across your face.
You see, there's an ancient demon prophecy that states a child not born of man shall become the world's greatest warrior. Once I learned of this child in conception, I just had to have it. It certainly isn't born of man now, is it?
Shigo glared at the smug, grinning idiot above her.
Sounds great, she growled. What problem? I'm not due for another few months. If you think I'm just gonna lay here and let you jabber on all that time, you're crazier than I thought.
Foolish woman, he replied. Do you think I would let you live that long? No. There are many spells and potions that can accelerate a child's human birth. Of course, the chance for surviving such a thing is a minimum, but if the child doesn't survive, then it wasn't the one I was looking for. Oh well, he tried. Either way, you won't be around to worry about it. The process will most certainly kill you. And then he turned and walked away from her to another part of the room. She tilted her head to see if he was gone, and found him standing only about 10 feet away in front of some kind of altar. Looking like he was thrown together on some extra crates lying around, with blood-red silk seats laid over them. On the top stood lighted candles, surrounding various bottles full of liquids and powders, and a few other things he couldn't identify. Lying next to them were instruments ranging from blunt to sharp, made from what looked like bones, and none he had ever seen before. She laid her head back down and tried to think of a way out of here. She could just move her fingers somehow, or get this creep to make some kind of mistake in her favor.
Ugh, that might work, she thought with a devious smile, called out. I hate to sound cliche, but you won't get away with this.
Oh, and what is that? He asked over his shoulder.
Dolly, the girl taking care of me, and whose baby I'm having, is Kim Possible. You know, she can do anything. That includes kicking your scaly ass. Trust me, she's fought a lot of people a lot tougher than you.
I sincerely doubt that, Pazuzu returned. By all means, let her come. There are only my demons, and I will get to bathe in her blood before we kill you.
We'll see about that, buddy, she retorted mentally. Kimmy will get here, and find a way to break me out. Then we'll see who's bathed in whose blood.